YouTube? Welcome to today's tier list video where I'm gonna go over what I think are the best decks to take to Ycs Indy. I'm gonna rank them and let's see. I want to go back to this tier list. Let's see after Ycs Indy if I was right or wrong in terms of top card representation. So what I'm basically gonna be doing today is not a tier list on. It's a tier list on what I think the good decks are, but also at the same time, which decks I think will have the highest representation in top cut. Okay, so like S tier would be like, you know, probably one of the highest, right? You know, like A tier would be like second highest, B tier would be like third highest. Yeah, let's get right into it, right? So we have the first deck right here, Pamornsut. Unfortunately, I think this deck will probably have no top cut representation at all. Maybe one person sneaks in out of nowhere, but you know, unless I'm proven wrong, I'll put Pamornsut in the D tier. In terms of deck level, I would say it's a B power level tier, but honestly, I could see people making it, so I'll put it as C. Okay, you know, like maybe one guy goes first, start dueling everybody, might make it in, you know. So Drytron, unplayable. Unless you win all your dice rolls, this deck will probably not make in the top cut droll in the format. No bueno. So I'll put this deck in the D tier. You know, it's a combo deck. No capabilities for going second. A lot of the cards right now, like Bestials that are trying to aim at tier limits, also makes Drytron like, you know, second hand smoke, and it's not too great. Labyrinth. This deck is, I think, in the A category. Mainly because I think the new card really offers some like cool abilities, such as like being able to like turn 0 Darumidol cannon your opponent, which I think is like hilarious. This deck will probably make top cut appearances at Ycs Indy. I'd probably rank it around A tier in terms of both power level and in terms of like, you know, probably like in the second most, I would say, like it will be in the second tier of highly represented decks for sure. So I would definitely put that in the A tier. Kashtira, you know, with Arizer being banned, the way you play Kashtira now is super monkey, just control with hella floodgates. You know, you play Dimensional Fissure. I think Max Reynolds took a similar list and got first at his case tournament recently. So, hey, who knows? Maybe Monkey Kashtira can definitely make it to top cut. I would put it in the B category because Cash is a super cringe deck with, you know, playing the Flood Sun version. But, you know, like I could definitely see people making top cut appearances with it, believe it or not, because, you know, the ability to play Shifter, play Friendlier Unicorn Control, a lot of floodgates could maybe pivot into top cut appearances, and it's relatively still, you know, Friendlier and Unicorn are very, very strong cards that by themselves are quote unquote semi-boss monsters, so they might be able to make it just off the backbone of that alone. Now, Dark Worlds. We got Dark Worlds here. Honestly, I think Dark World is a way stronger power level than Drytron, but it has a huge fundamental weakness in which like it can't really go second. But power level, like going first, is probably one of the strongest decks in the format to go first, especially with the new Ken and Gen cards that really boost its consistency by a huge margin, and also makes the deck like way stronger. But you know, it doesn't really solve the issue that it previously had with Drone Lockbird, the ability to go second into boards. So I think Dark World, I would put it in B. Only because its power level going first is so absurd, and you know, like I think Dark World will probably be played by a couple players, and I think some of them might be fortunate enough to make top cut. So I'll put it in B because I feel like I will see some in top cut for sure, and I think some players will definitely want to try the Ken and Gen stuff. So I'll put it in the B category. The Flu Goo Stew, man, Flu on the Rees. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's probably in the A tier. Okay. And the main reason is because these Flu players just don't know how to brick. They just really don't. And Flu is all consistently snuck top cut appearances in the past couple YCSs, and it even won YCS Cancun. And nothing has really changed with this the deck's power level. I think the deck will actually be seeing a huge top cut appearance. I think it will be around the same as Labyrinth, where if we have top 32, we'll probably see 2 to 3 Lab, 2 to 3 Flu. You know, let's see if I'm right? Let's see if I'm right. We'll go back to this tier list after the YCS. Yeah, I'll definitely put Flu above Lab, right? But definitely similar in terms of top cut appearances, in terms of power level. You know, I think it makes sense to see where they're at, like in terms of A. I don't think it's like an S tier, mainly because the deck bricks too much. So not every Flu player who enters will make it, but for the fortunate ones who don't brick, open shifter, I think it'll definitely be, you know, up there. But just because it bricks so much, I don't think a lot of people will convert from Swiss that well. So that's why I have to put it at the A tier in terms of, like, you know, that category. Draco Slayer, unfortunately, it's unplayable. The deck just, it's just basically Dytron going first, going second, you see it later. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's that good, unfortunately. So I have to put it in D tier. Probably no one will probably make it into Top Cut at all. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that, but it is what it is. Math Mech, oh man, this deck, it's like maybe if you open circular, the one person makes it in. That's why I have it in C category. Like, maybe one person makes it in. Can play a lot of hand traps. Doesn't seem like the worst option, but with the huge, with the influx of Bistils in the main deck, not in the main deck, but in the format, I just don't think this deck can really perform. So I'll put it in C category. It's not like the worst deck ever, but you know, I just don't think it's playable because of the non-engine in the format right now. Pure Scareclaw, maybe I'll put it in C tier, maybe. So I don't know. Like, I think the Pure Scareclaw deck is like fine. I don't think it's great. A lot of people are probably gonna hate on me in the comments because of this. I don't think it's the worst deck ever, but maybe one will sneak in the Top Cut. In terms of power level, it's just way too low. So that's why I can't rank it too high. I don't think the deck is the worst deck ever, but it's definitely a decent mid-range strategy with some like cool options. Tryhard is a floodgate for a lot of monsters that they can't really out. So I definitely rank it higher than Math Mech and Pamornsut. And it's very Scareclaw is probably really consistent as well, but I just think that like the power level of the deck is too low compared to what we have in the C tier right now. So I have to put it at C tier, and I just don't think that many people will make Top Cut with it. Maybe, like I said, maybe one sneaks in. Tri-Leerless, unplayable. Nah, I lied. Is it unplayable? I'll probably put it at C tier. Maybe main deck triple DD Crow might get you there. Search a couple Crows with the double Leerless combo, you know, overlay for the thing. I could see it in Top Cut. Same thing with Virtual World. We saw one of the Virtual World players, I think, make Top Cut in Ycs Dorman, right? So I think like Virtual World and like could see it. I think the dude was main decking Skill Drain. Is it the deck or is it Skill Drain? Who knows? You know, it's one of those for sure. So I would say like probably similar power level. Bisto Dragon Link, honestly, A tier. A tier for sure. Deck's very, very solid. With a Rise Heart gone, Bisto gaining some popularity in the format, being very powerful. Dragon Link is also just a very, very good, solid option. Borland is crazy right now, and I think the Dragon Link deck is very, very good. We've seen it make consistent Top Cut appearances. If tier becomes very popular, Dragon Link might be a really, really good call. I think it's definitely an A tier in terms of both power level and Top Cut appearances. I really, really think that deck is really, really strong. I might put Dragon Link even at S tier even. I think the deck is really, really good. So Earth Machine, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe. Just drawing 2 cards ain't that, like, drawing 2 and ending on, like, some Link monsters ain't that good, yo. And being Earthlock is terrible. You got Lil Knight, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the format. Like, I'm not trying to be Earthlock, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think Earth Machine is that good right now, but I wouldn't say it's the worst deck ever. So I'll put it at C tier. A couple people might sneak in, you know. Tri-Sprite, I'll put it in the same category as Tri-Leerless. It's really not that much. Honestly, it's pretty much the same deck, just different engine cards. Not really my cup of tea. Eldritch, honestly, you better off playing Labyrinth. Eldritch is just terrible compared to Labyrinth. Like, the mommies is just better than the Golden Lords, eh? So it is what it is, you know. Enough said. Plunder, probably C tier. I don't, like I said, I don't think these are the worst decks ever. But in terms of Top Cut experiences, just not that likely. But someone might sneak in with like some crazy go second Plunder deck that just kills you. Maybe I should have included Adventure Plunder in as well, but I would say they're like similar power level. Probably C tier. Like, I don't think the deck is the worst. Power level is like kind of mid. So yeah. Traptrix, damn, what should I put this category in? Like, It's between these, honestly. You know, I'll put it at C tier because I'm biased. You know, balling on a budget has showed me the versatility of this deck. So I'll put Trap 6 in the C tier. You know, it is. You know what I'm saying? So not the worst option, but it is what it is. Runic Sprite. Honestly, Runic cards are just powerful, man. They're just good. Like, Runic cards just be carrying. I think it'll be in the B tier because I think Runic cards just carry. I think you can play Runic Sprite Little Knight Control. Because the issue with Runic Sprite before is the fact that Runic Sprite didn't really have a good monster to go into. But Little Knight solves some of that issues. It's a card that helps clear your opponent's cards. And honestly, like, you can control the board really well with Little Knight and then going plus off the Runic engine. You can use Little Knight to banish itself off the board with your opponent's stuff, which moves it to the main monster zone, clearing the EMZ, allowing you to activate more Runic cards. And Little Knight plus the level 9 monster Sleipnir can just far for a bunch of your opponent's monsters, and honestly, that's really, really strong. So I'll put Runic Strike in the B tier. Definitely way stronger than all the other decks right below them. And I think it's actually competitive enough to compete, and I can actually see it competing and making top cut appearances at Ycs Indy. So Mechanco. Dude, honestly, this is a scary deck. I kind of want to put a B tier. Funny enough, bro. After seeing this deck in Master and learning a little bit more about what it does, this deck is a little bit sussy. It's scary, man. I'm not gonna cap. I think I'll put it in C tier. But I could literally see. I think it's like high C tier, lower, like right, like, you know what I'm saying, like right in between. I don't know, BC. I do think Mechanco is like definitely an interesting strat. I think I think once people know what you're on though, it's a little bit worse. So but I do think Mechanco definitely isn't the worst deck in the format by a mile. Like, it definitely can have some ability to like take top cut appearances. So I'll be excited to see if someone does top with Mechanco. I think it'll be interesting. But I don't think it'll be that high in representation in terms of top cut. So I'll put it at C. Power level like in the mid tier, you know. So I wouldn't, like I said, it's not the worst deck, not the greatest deck, right in the low. Honestly, I'll put it in B tier. Honestly, I think I'll put it in B tier. So we have Rika Sun Avalon. Okay. So Ycs Indy is in America. So this deck is in D tier. No, I'm sure. But okay, look, I think Rika Sun Avalon will make top cut appearances. There's no doubt. I think 1 or 2 will easily slip in for sure. And depending on whether or not it wins the event, that just depends on whether people want to, you know, watch Joshua's video and read these Rika cards. That literally depends on you. Okay, so if you're watching this video, go watch Josh's video on this on the Rika Sun Avalon deck. I beg you. I beg you. I implore you to read these cards. You know, it's really not that hard. Just pick it up. Just read. All right. Anyways, next, Naturia Runic, man. Unfortunately, it's in the C tier. One of my favorite decks of all time, without a doubt. But unfortunately, the Naturia engine just got slammed by the ban list, and yeah, it's just not great. You know, like, as much as I love this deck, I have to be unbiased and put it in the C tier. Honestly, maybe even D tier. I can't even see someone making top cut with this shit unless they get really lucky. So, Sorso Tenny, yo, no cap. Sorso Tenny, hey, low key, not the worst option. Okay, look, I'm not coping on this one. Okay, hear me out. Sorso Tenny definitely can make top cut. I can literally see Sorso at top cut, no cap. I can see it. I actually believe. Bro, the Tenny cards are insane at breaking boards. You got Draco Berserker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, this deck isn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see myself cooking with Sorso. That's all I'm saying. You know? So look, I'm just saying, I think the power level of this deck is definitely above average. Plays a lot of decent non-engine. Can definitely break boards going second. Look, I like it. T-Elements, bro. I gotta put this in the S tier. As much as I hate to do this, the stupid deck is in the S tier, man. I freaking hate it, but I have to admit it, okay? Alright, let me explain my theory on why it's an S tier deck. Because S stands for sack, and this deck just sacks you, okay? So it's in the S tier for that reason. Now, okay, look, all jokes aside, I think T Elements is like a combo deck. You know, it's basically a combo deck that can go first. But it has some capabilities to go second into some matchups that are favorable, similar like Unchained. Like the Tillerman deck going second to Unchained deck is so powerful because Unchained deck doesn't have Omni negates for milling and stuff like that, right? It has like the rank 6, but you know, like they normal summon Diviner into the board and like you mill 5, and all of a sudden it starts getting really crazy. A lot of its ability fusion summon gets chain blocked. So I think T Elements has some very favorable matchups across like the meta decks. And I think a lot of people will play the deck, and I think the reason why a lot will convert is also mainly because of the huge representation of people playing. Like we saw at Ycs Dormant, it was I think the most represented deck and the most represented deck at Ycs Dormant in Top Cut. So it converted really well. And so as a result, I think like it would actually be I think it will be very similar to what we'll expect at Ycs Indy, that a lot of people will make Top Cut appearances, will tier limits, and it's just, you know, let's just see how lucky you are. Okay, that's all I gotta say if you're playing this deck. Let's just see how lucky you are. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? You can mill really good, but on the inverse, you can mill really bad. So I think like in Top Cut, definitely expect to see it. And in Swiss, definitely expect to see this in terms of representation for sure. Okay, Gold Pride Punk. I actually think this deck is really neat, really neat. Played against it a couple times at a couple YCSs. Deck makes really crazy boards if it's uninterrupted. And honestly, I can literally see this deck top. Maybe two at best, probably closer to 1 realistically. But if it goes first, it makes really crazy boards. And it has the room to play a lot of non-engine, so you'll see like I kind of like it for that reason as well. So definitely like in the B category, right? Like maybe 1 or 2 sneaks in, you know, like 1 up or 2, and I think the power level is above some of their cards we see down here. So Sprite Melfi, unless you're Dinkham fam, this shit's unplayable, to be honest. I'm trolling, but put a C tier. You can definitely see some Sprite guys make it. You definitely can see some Sprite guys make it, to be honest with you. It's just you know, like I just actually maybe I should put Go Second Sprite, because I feel like no Sprite deck has been topping at all except the Go Second Sprite deck, and like I said, I maybe 1 or 2 tops, so most likely 1, so I'll put it in C category for that. Power level is like very mid, very below average. Sprite is just like very low in power level at the moment, you know, but I'll definitely put it high C tier. Runic Sprite for higher, honestly B tier. B tier for sure. I'll put it in the B tier because I think Little Knight being a warrior is really neat, because it allows you to convert into a Fogo de Chao. You know, like warriors are a different type that is very beneficial to the Runic for higher strategy. Having different types in your extra deck is really nice. So you can like convert it into a Link 2, into a Little Knight. Little Knight break your opponent's board, banish, like link off the Little Knight, make Fogo de Chao, summon some cards, break some more boards. Definitely one of the stronger Runic decks we have in the format for sure. I would put it in the very high B tier category because of how powerful the deck is at going first, drawing a bunch of cards, and going second. You know, like all the Runic cards are like essentially board breakers in of itself. So I would definitely put this pretty high up there. Definitely 2 to 3 can easily top Ycs Indy in my opinion. So I'll definitely put this really high. Branded Chimera. I think this deck will also start seeing a huge influx in Top Cut appearances. I think the new Chimera card is really cool. Definitely offers some new lines for the deck that it didn't have before, quite honestly. And the deck's gonna do what it does best: floodgate you a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? So as much as I hate it, I easily see 2 or 3 Branded Chimera players easily topping. The power level of the deck is way above average, and yeah, I think it's really solid. So Venture Synchron, I don't think many players will make Top Cut with this deck, but the power level is so high that you might have to, you know, I think it'll be hard to put it in the D tier. You know, especially with the Diablo Star cards. I might put it in B, honestly, because like the power level of this deck going first is so absurd. It's like Loki and FTK. It's basically an FTK deck when it goes first because you play the Diablo Star engine with Jet Synchron, and you played Rite of Our Major, Avenger Synchron. So yeah, you just play Rite, Diablo Star engine, Synchron cards, and honestly, going first is very scary. Like going second in this deck, you never feel good about it. You know. You're always shaking your boots, and I think going second is where the deck struggles a little bit. But I think because it has like some room for non-engine, like around 9 slots, it's not the worst deck to ever, you know, to pick up and play. I think for the YCS, but you better be trying to win those dice rolls because that's where the deck truly shines. I think Tier Horus is honestly a little bit worse than regular Tier Limits. I expect more pure tier limits to top than tier Horus tier limits, but I would say similar power level. I just think that more regular tier elements will top. So that's why I have an A tier. Snake Eyes, unfortunately, we still need some more of the new cards for this deck to be completely viable. But the cards are very, very promising, okay? I think the cards are super promising. Like, I've read some of the cards already in the Snake Eyes pure archetype. And in the new Snake Eyes cards that are coming out, this deck will definitely be way better in the future, right? So, Alter Guys, honestly, unfortunately, I have to put it at the C tier. It's just deck's cool, deck's kind of neat, but it's just play Labyrinth if you want to flip trap cards. Infernoble, I'll put this in the B tier as well. I think this deck is probably the most consistent FTK deck right now, which is first turn kill. Like, it's so, like when it does goes first, it's probably the most consistent deck at doing what it needs to do, which is puts up an unbreakable board. It struggles a little bit going second, in my opinion, but it's one of the most consistent going first decks in the format, which is scary as hell. And as you see on the cover art of Infernoble, or this picture right here, Angel's Ring, that card is absurd. You no longer lose to Super Poly, Darker Little More, Evilly Match, or any absurd card that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so good. Like, this card really makes the board way better, but obviously doesn't solve the going second issues. Gives Infernobles a way to basically make an unbreakable board. So, it is what it is. Okay. I put it in the B tier because I expect 2 or 3 players to top with this deck. Like I said, very, very scary deck when it goes first. Very, very insane combo deck right now. So, Diablo Star Rescue Ace, the deck that everyone wants to, you know, talk about right now. It's the hottest deck of the format. Quite literally, no pun intended. S tier, man. I mean, it's no brainer. The Diablo Star cards brings this deck to a whole new level, boosting the deck's consistency by a huge margin. I expect a lot of players to be playing this deck, a lot of players to be making top cut with this deck. You know, probably one of the, yeah, so it's gonna be one of the scariest decks to play against. So definitely be prepared to play against this deck. I think it will take a huge top cut appearance, probably in the 5, 6, 7 range, in the top 32 format. Definitely very strong contender with the new Diablo Star cards, like, really boosting the deck up. So I think S tier is where I would put it. Super heavy, unplayable, to be honest. It's S tier. Like, I'll probably put it in D tier, to be honest. S tier because it can make Dweller. How about that? Okay. Only because, like, you know, it can make Dweller do some neat stuff here and there, but really, I don't think there's actually really not much to say about it. It's just S tier, to be honest. C tier. I think maybe, like, if you're playing Vanquish Soul, you know, maybe it'll be a little bit higher. I think Vanquish Soul is actually pretty decent right now, too. Like, I think, like, Vanquish Soul... Let me skip to Vanquish Soul. Because this is, like, pure super heavy, but I think Vanquish Soul as a deck, honestly, A tier. I honestly think the deck being able to play Shifter, slight boost to its consistency. The deck is a very, probably one of the strongest mid-range decks in the format. It goes literally +5 on you. And every time you don't kill the deck, like, it's really strong in my opinion. Ability to play DD Crows, Ghost Spells, Bestials, Ash, right? I mean, Ash is everyone's deck, but it has the ability to play some really good non-engine cards for some of the top decks in the meta. So as a result, I think Vanquish Soul is actually decently positioned. Like, I actually don't think this deck is shit anymore. Like, after seeing how well it did at the last YCS 2, I actually think this deck is actually stronger than people give it credit for. And so, I think this deck is definitely solid. And I think it will actually see like 2 to 3, maybe even 4 top cut appearances at the upcoming YCS. Especially with the new card that just got released. Because it finally got a fire card for his deck, and you no longer have to play shitty ass Pluton. So honestly, and yeah, the deck can make Dweller, so Broken Floodgate. The deck can make Baguska with Link monsters go like and set up like, you know, really good turn ones. I think this deck is solid. I have no complaints about this deck. I think the deck finally got what it needed to compete a little bit better after post Agov. So I'll put it in A tier, to be honest. Runic Sprint, Evil Twite. What did I say? Twite. Like Sprite and Twins combined. It's Twite. But I would put this in the B tier. Definitely one of the strongers. Definitely one of the stronger Runic variants for sure. Like I said, Little Knight is really strong with Runic cards. Because you can activate a Runic card, summon Hugin, make Little Knight with literally anything. Because if you make it with a fusion monster, you can banish one of your opponent's cards. I think Runic cards with Little Knight and Sprite cards are really good. So I have to put this in the B category, you know. Branded. Okay, let's see. Where do I put this? I think it's like, let me see. This is tough. This is tough. Like, where did I put Branded Chimera? Branded Chimera in the B tier. I'll put Branded in B tier as well, to be honest. I think it's like similar in power level. I think Pure Branded as well as Pure Branded and Branded Chimera are probably pretty similar in power level, to be honest. Dinosaur's unplayable, bro. Missed that one. Novellas, bro. If someone cooks me the freaking goo with this shit, send it to me, please. Because Novellas, low bro not cooking. Pearly, honestly, Pearly A tier. I think it's a solid deck. I think it will make pretty decent top cut appearances. Might need some good pilots to you know, to perform, but I think Pearly's pretty solid. So I would put it in the A tier. Street Solos, the Rescue Ace matchup. Honestly, it's just a solid deck. I would put it in the A tier for sure. Let's see, Exosister. Honestly, B tier, bro. As much as I hate to say it, as much as this card has traumatized me, literally knocking me every time I play it, Exosister is literally the bane of my existence. Like, every time I play against this Exosister deck on stream, I have always lost to it. I think YCS Minneapolis, and as well as NAWCQ, I just got smoked by Exo, man. You know, it cost me a spot to potentially go to Worlds, and this deck took everything from me. It literally took everything from me. I think like Martha is pretty solid. The card's just broken, man. Exos is solid, bro. So I have to put it in the B tier. Deck's power level is really solid. Slight consistency issues, but you can easily fix that with some of the spirit cards. Deck's good. Deck's good. I definitely see a couple people making with it. Maybe Santoli. Maybe we need some we need that guy back playing the Exo deck. Then we have Telenites, turn skip deck, C tier. Maybe one do sneaks in, because no one knows what the cards do. But I think C tier is fine. Yeah, it's literally the turn skip deck. You can also play mid range and not turn skip. You can also do the diamond play. Honestly, Telenites not too bad, bro. You can make diamond and souls the tier deck, right? Maybe this deck is the goo. Maybe this deck's the goo, guys. Make diamond. Your opponent like the Macrocosmos. Like, dude, this match might be not too shabby. Honestly, maybe I'll put it next to Exosister. I think rank 4 is just broken. Tistina, Konami once again doing us dirty with the TCC exclusive. Once again. Unchained, honestly, S tier, without a doubt. Unchained is the deck that has consistently been performing the past 3 YCSs, maybe actually 4 YCSs. It's just really solid, man. The deck's just broken, man. Right? I think it has a really bad Tillerman matchup. Some issues against Dweller, but you know, deck's still solid. Vanadium. I think this deck, honestly, in the B tier, as the Infernoble, similar to Vanadium, Infernoble, and Adventure Synchron, I think it belongs in that sort of category of combo decks. You'll definitely expect to play a couple of these at the YCS. I think definitely 2 to 3 my top. You know, the duelist with the nice dice rolls, and the new cards really do give it a boost. So I definitely do expect to see this deck in top cut. Not the highest representation, but 2 to 3, you know, solid. Salamangreat, honestly, I will put this in the B tier. Consistently makes Dweller. Deck's a little bit more consistent. You got 3 Gazelles. It's a Dweller deck going first. And yeah, I think the deck is really neat. I think the deck's really neat. I think it can push through stuff. I think it's really solid. It makes Dweller. You can actually even play the Demon Star engine in Salamangreat if you want. So really, really solid deck. I have no complaints. Consistently does what it needs to do. Rank 4. You can go for rank 4. You can go for Dweller, Sunlight Wolf, Counter Trap. Or you can even go for Link 5 or Link. It's Link 4. Sorry, Link 4 Double Trap as well setup. So it depends. New Pendulum deck. I think it's actually in the B tier. I've been labbing this deck for a minute. It's kind of hard to play, bro. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, there's too many Pendulum cards, bruh. Like, I don't know what I want to do with the deck, but going first is just an FTK deck, like all these adventure decks, but it has no non-engine, so I would put it at the worst option of all these 3 combo decks. But Chi-Ji, bro, this deck is literally it's like literally got some new cards, but I think it's like close to Pendulum. It's like worse than these combo decks. I think it's worse than Vanadium if for no more Adventure Synchron, if you have to play a combo deck. And then Sky Striker. If you play Sky Striker at this event, you might have to stay home. No cap. Cancel your flight. But look. This is what I think YCS Top Cut will look like. What I think the power levels are at. So look. I hope you guys enjoy the tier list. Hear my thoughts on the format. I think it'll be interesting to come back and see whether or not I was right or wrong. Let me know in the comment section if you think I'm an idiot or not. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of those. But look, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll talk to you guys. Have a good one. Good luck at Ycs Indy. It should be out before then, so peace.